Hello guys. to make this work.
The meeting now. Hi guys. So we give it another 5 minutes and then we can start. I see we are at 53. Joseph, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good, sawa. I am going to text you an email that in case I am not there throughout the call, they can, like, all email inquiries can be sent to that email. I will send you right now.
Okay. Noted.
So it's 5 minutes past the hour. We are at 72 people. I think it's a good time to start. So today we are having a new trainer from last class. So I want to welcome our today's trainer. Her name is Lucy. She'll tell us more about herself and take us through the session. Lucy, karibu sana.
Thank you. Jane, how are you guys?
We're totally fine.
Good.
How are you?
Fine, we are fine.
Bye.
Thank you. That makes me know that you guys can hear me and are available. My name is Lucy. I'm HR personnel. I work with Centum, and I will be your trainer for the module of job readiness. I am excited for this session, and yeah, thank you.
So, Lucy, I am not sure if it is on my end. Joseph, you can confirm if her mic and sound is okay. I could lose her bit by bit. Or she's far from the mic, something. Lucy?
She's far.
She's far from the mic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucy, please get closer to your mic and you have the class.
Is this okay?
Sounds a bit better.
Okay, so I'll try and be loud enough. Not
Yeah,
sure what the
that's
difference
better.
is. That's okay. All right. Then if there is anything else you would like to say just before I go on.
No, you just proceed with your screen. I'll put the email address that I mentioned to Joseph on the chat. It's the official email. So don't send communications to my personal email. Otherwise, I'm losing them. So that's the only announcement for today.
Okay, thank you. As I mentioned, my name is Lucy, and I'm excited to be taking you through this class. I believe it's going to be a productive class, and we are all going to be benefiting a lot at the end of the day. I'm going to be sharing my screen in PDF ID now for everyone. And yes, let me just share with you guys. Okay, I hope you guys can see. All right.
Yes.
Yes, maybe to just take you through, I believe we are all going through our degrees, our certificates, our diplomas, to be able at the end of the day to be able to get into a job, maybe to get a job that is in line with what you're studying in class, and to earn a living. So I think the purpose of this course or module, I mean, is to ensure that at the end of this session, at the end of this training that you guys are going through, you will be able to at least present yourself in an interview, to do a CV, to be able to get a job, keep your job, and even excel in your job. So that means we do not want to only have you get that job. We want to hear at the end of maybe a year, maybe there was brand. So I think the purpose of this is to ensure that at the end that you guys are going through, you will be able in an interview to even excel in your job. So it is now one of the kind of feedback that we want to get. I'd like to also maybe take you through. Maybe you would like to tell me what your expectations for this class are. I mentioned to you what my expectations are. Maybe you can tell me what are your expectations as a student. What do you expect to learn from this? As I mentioned, it's called job readiness. Anyone that would want to go? Are you guys shy?
Hi.
What? Hi.
Okay, my name is Nicole. So, what
Yes,
I'm
as I mentioned, it's called job readiness. What? Hi.
Oh, My name is Nicole. What ready to learn today is the outside world, outside school, and to more what the interviewers expect of us as their work or new places or new businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. I think that's very nice. I can see Jocelyn's hand is up. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. I
Hi.
expect to learn about how to present oneself during an interview.
Wow, that's good. Harriet, you can give me your expectations.
Hi, I expect to know what necessarily the employer expects from us and how best we can deliver this in the workforce.
All right. Thank you, guys. I think that is very nice. I can see your expectations are very much in line with what I will be taking you through. I think at the end of this course, you'll have learned how to present yourself in the interview, how to make sure that apart from presenting yourself in that interview, you will understand, you'll be able to understand what are your job requirements, how should you be able to behave at your workplace. So this helps you to develop good work habits that facilitate your ongoing success. What is Harriet going to, she's gotten her job, how is she going to excel at that job? How is she going to ensure that she's able to get a raise maybe? How is she able to ensure that she gets a promotion maybe after a few months or a few years at her workplace? And that is exactly what I'm going to be taking you through. This is just a quote that says 70% of human resource officials cited deficiency among graduates in applied skills, such as professionalism and work ethic, including punctuality, working productively with others, and time and workload management. I think this is because I myself being in the workforce and actively being practicing my career, I can honestly say that I get a lot of candidates maybe or successful employees that they're not able to relate effectively at work. They're not able to understand, to bridge the gap between professionalism, having your personal life, what is okay at the workplace, what is not okay at the workplace, and also maybe how do you manage your workload? Sometimes your workload may be overwhelming. How do you ensure that you manage your work? Ensure that you're not letting anyone down and you're also not taking up too much. I think that is something that I'm going to help you walk through, so that at least even though you've not had an idea of how work life is like, you will be prepared for it. Yeah, because I think we have learned so much theory in class that when it comes down to applying it, it becomes difficult. And this class mostly is going to be more of a practical class, because I know you have the theory of how to do your CV, you have a theory of how you should behave in an interview, you have a theory of how your do's and don'ts for your interviews, you have all those theories. But then I'd like us to actually practice them, so that hiyo Kenya umejua kwa class unaweza nipresentia. Mimi ukinipresentia nitaweza kukuajiri ama sitaweza kukuajiri. Na kama kuna shida, then hapo tutaweza kujua venye tutaitatiwa. So this is just a brief highlight of how the world of work is like currently. As we all know, maybe you have experiences. You can tell by some of your friends that have left work and they have been waiting to join. They have left their universities and are looking to join the world of work. I have people we graduated with. Now, it's not that they do not want to work, but they are very much interested in the world of work. Lakini kwa vile kazi hazipatikani, mtu anaenda anajifungulia biashara yake, maybe unaamua uendelee na masters yako ukiona kama utapata kazi. And this is not just a story for maybe a friend that I studied with. It's a story maybe most of us are familiar with. The story maybe you're even in the class now, that is your story right now. But we have situations where we actually have people that hata hawajamaliza shule na washa graduate. So we want to make these success stories more than the disappointment. So Kenya is currently faced with the opportunity and challenge of a so-called a lot of graduates with no job. This occurs when more than 20% of a country's population is composed of young people. Then it means that the young people are more than the old people. Youth unemployment rates are high, and youth represent by far the bulk of unemployed people. And this is why maybe you will find that in most places there are a lot of zingine mahali unaenda unapata young people wameketi hapo chini wanasoma wanapiga story ama wanajaribu kuencourageana, and some people even end up doing the wrong thing as they are looking for employment. So there is also a challenge where we have graduate skills that mismatch with the industry. Yani umesomea kile ambacho maybe hakihitajiki kwa industry, ama kama imehitajika haujaweza kujipresent ambavyo inafaa. So I will, being in the HR department, I can tell you for a fact that the amount of time it will take for me to go through your CV will be dependent on how much time or how your CV presents itself. For example, this code just tells us that 50% of HR or 50% of the resumes that are submitted are not read, and it will take them to look at it. That is very true, because on a daily basis, I see more than 15 to 20 people. This is just on the lower side. There are times that people are so many that you actually do not have even the time to see these people, because aside from recruitment or hiring, there are other HR functions that need to be taken up. So you can imagine I do not have time to see or engage the entire lot of maybe 15 to 20 people and even go through their CVs. So what will make me as a HR person go through your CV? Maybe what would make me want to know who you are as a person. Yeah? So this is what I want us to be working on, to make your CV presentable, captivating enough for me to spend more than 1 minute on it. And if I'm able to spend more than 1 minute on your CV, it means you have passed the first stage of getting yourself a job. Because it will take me to go through your CV first. If I look at your CV, then I'm able to tell, is there a job available for the skills that Mary has, the skills that Maureen has? And if there is an available opportunity with those skills, then it means I'm able to schedule or have you on hold for an interview. Then it means you are an inch closer to getting into your job. Are we together? Okay. So
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
right. So these are just a few things that we will be looking at as HR, maybe in your CV, whether you have excellent grades, whether you've been involved in a variety of activities, and whether you have shown any commitment and leadership in the activities that you've been holding. The good thing is, sometimes that is just the details of what I will be looking at. Sometimes I'll just look at how is your CV presented. Is it neat? Are there spelling mistakes? Because if you can imagine, I'm going through, I've received 10 CVs, and Jackie's CV hajaspell curriculum vitae vizuri. Jina yenyewe curriculum vitae hajapata nafasi ya kucorrect na kuandika vizuri. Hata email hajaandika, hajui spelling. In short, those are the kind of things that will put off a HR professional or the person that is looking at his CV. Hizo ndio vitu ambazo zitafanya ajiulize, is this person really deserving of this job? Is this person serious? Because if you do not have the time to take care of your CV, kama hujachukua muda ama wakati wako kuangalia CV yako haina spelling mistakes, haujapata phone number yako, maybe umeandika ukaacha namba moja. You see, those kind of attention to detail speak a lot about you as a person. That's what I want us to work through. I don't want us to be so theoretical. I want us to actually, sometimes we can even have someone volunteer their CV that we can work on. Maybe something that we can see that we can have Austin giving us his CV, so that at the end of the day we can have Austin work through his CV, ensure that akona ameandika vile vitu vizuri, na wewe on the other hujachukua muda ama wakati wako haina spelling mistakes, naandika umeattend that a tick, then that means a lot about you as a person. I don't want us to be so theoretical. I want to volunteer a CV that we can work on. All right, so Austin, at the end of the day, we can have Austin work through his CV, ensure online job opportunities, because we are not limited to the world of online possibilities have really expanded. And we would like to also see you get to understand, how do I get to identify genuine jobs and jobs that are not genuine? Yeah? How do I get to be able to fit my skills and abilities with my even financial needs? Because at the end of the day, I do not want to just land in a job that cannot be able to meet my financial needs. I am working towards paying my bills, growing myself financially. That's how we will want to match our skills. We will also go through your writing or your resumes and cover letter and the writing of references. So this helps you learn to create resumes and cover letters that will attract employment. And as I've mentioned, how your CV looks, how your cover letter looks, really determines whether you'll get that interview before you get that job. We'll also be looking at the desirable interview skills, internships, and volunteering. Because apart from sometimes you're going through your course, or maybe you're going through your degree, whichever level you're working on, you may want to get an internship, you may want to volunteer somewhere. We want to place ourselves in a situation where the person we are approaching is confident enough to have us on board. And that will be dependent on how you present yourself for an interview. Sometimes we don't realize it, but you're choosing someone to give you an internship. So they briefly just take through wanakupeleka kidogo through an informal interview. But they're taking through an informal interview and they do not realize it. So unajipata maybe umeongea kitu ambayo haifai, maybe haukujieleza vizuri na hapo unakosa nafasi yako. I'll also be taking you through positive customer service and work ethics. This is after we passed that stage of interviews and we are now into the workforce. How do you deal with the customers? How do you ensure that your work ethics are in line with your company culture, with your company requirements? How do you treat your customers? And what is the overall importance of customer service in your workplace? We'll also be going through work etiquette. This basically means how you present yourself at work, how you behave at work. Yeah? Apart from that, we'll go through effective time management. This will be able to help you learn about identifying organization skills that may be applied to help you balance between your work and life. Because aside from your work life, you also have a personal life that we need for you to be able to balance. Because I do not want you to be in a situation where you've dedicated 100% of your time to your work, that ukienda nyumbani unakumbuka, I don't have friends, I can't even hang out with anyone. Because it's important. Because the only way unaweza kuwa productive vizuri sana kazini, ukiweza kubalance maishani na kazini. Ukiweza kupata, if you get time to relax and also take a break and rest during your off days, then it means you'll be very productive. But if you're working constantly, you find yourself, you're stressed, you're underperforming, yet you can be able to do much more, but it's because your body is not able to take a lot of pressure. Yeah. The other thing will be coping with stress and anxiety. Sometimes your work may be challenging, sometimes your work may be overwhelming, maybe you're due for a project, maybe you're due for an appraisal, Yeah, maybe you have something that you're working on that you need to present to your boss. How do you deal with that kind of stress and anxiety? You also want to learn how to problem solving and conflict management at the workplace, because you can believe if you argue with your sister who you've been brought up with, who you have been in the same house for the longest time, imagine how you will relate with a stranger. A stranger, see, the opportunities to argue are quite a number. Opportunities za kubishana zitakuwa mingi sana, especially because we all have different ideas of life. We all have different beliefs of how work should be done. So how are you going to manage that kind of conflict that comes in between? So we also look at interview success and follow-up. This means after you've done your interviews, whether you've gotten positive feedback or not, how do you politely or how do you follow up on your interviews? Maybe it's taken quite some time for you to get your interview feedback. Maybe you did get your interview feedback, but you'd like more information. Then how do I go about it? Another thing I'd like for us to also look at is self-advocacy. Self-advocacy comes in where you're looking to present yourself, like you want to present a concern. You want to learn about what protects you, what are the laws that protect your employment. You also want to learn how you'll be able to present your, what do we call them? If you want to get a raise, how do you present yourself? If you want to get a promotion, how do you present yourself? Because we said we do not want to only get you a job, we also want to get you grow and succeed in that job. So self-advocacy is how you'll be able to present such kind of issues. So I want to first pause as at that, so that before we go ahead, maybe if anyone has a question, I can address that is in relation to what I've talked about.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Stephen Marshall. Madam, I'm sorry, but you're breaking. I thought it was Alon who was hearing that you're breaking, but I don't know what's wrong actually.
Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, can you talk a little bit then?
Okay. I'm just asking if anyone has a question on the items that I've gone through.
Oh, you're not clear. Thank you.
All right. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Anyone that has a question?
Hi, my name is Nazra. I don't have a question, just a suggestion. Maybe if you could also talk about a LinkedIn profile. What I don't know if that applies in HR, but just a LinkedIn profile.
All right, Nazra, I think that's a very good suggestion and a discussion that we will be looking at. Since, as I mentioned, how you present yourself to the outside world matters a lot. Yeah, it matters a lot since sometimes you might have grown so big in your career that you're not able to that people are actually looking for you. Not sure whether you guys can hear me. I'm not seeing Byron saying anything. Can you hear me, Byron?
Yes. There is still a problem. You keep on breaking.
We are really struggling to hear you.
Okay, let me just switch my speaker.
I'm reaching out to you, Stephen, because from my end I can still get Lucy.
Let me just see whether I can get something better.
Okay, kitu nilizima. Oh.
You can proceed, Lucy.
Hello, you can tell me how this is?
It's
Much better.
Okay, all right. You can tell me then, as I was saying, as I was mentioning that how you present yourself to the outside world really matters. Since sometimes employers may be the ones looking for you. So how do you ensure that employers really, when they look at your LinkedIn profile or when they see your profiles, whichever other work-related networking areas that we have, that they can actually want to hire you. So I think Nazra, that is an area we actually look at and touch on to ensure that the LinkedIn profile attracts as many employers as possible.
Thanks.
Right? Anyone else that has a concern or anything else that they want me to talk about? Is there anyone else with a question?
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think about someone doing their master's? Should you do it immediately after your degree, or maybe have some work experience, some volunteer jobs, blah, blah, blah? What exactly would you advise? Thank you.
Really, I would really recommend that before you pursue a master's, it's important that you first understand whether what you're looking towards doing is what you actually want to go and do a master's for. Reason being, I'll give you my own experience. One, I went to campus. Once I did, the course that I did and what I'm actually practicing at the moment, yes, they are in line, but should I have known better or had some experience, then I don't think I would have taken the same course. So I think it's important, even though you don't get a permanent job that pays, some volunteer work that gets you to have a feel of that job that you're looking to do is very important. Because then again, sometimes you'll have a situation where employers will consider you as maybe sometimes overqualified because maybe you have a master's, but have not experienced. So you're in between a bridge of entry level and middle level that kind of puts you at a conflicting place. Okay? So I think that's important. Maybe you get some feel of what you're looking for towards doing, especially if you do not have any work experience. But if you've already joined your workplace and you feel this is what you want to do, then you can go ahead and do it. I can see Jocelyn's hands is up.
Hi again. Could you address how to frame a CV with no work experience?
Yes, that will do.
Okay.
We're going to be going through resume writing, and because most of you have not gone through, maybe most of you have not had any work experience, we'll be looking at how to make sure your CV, even though you do not have any work experience, how do you make sure that that employer is interested enough to give you a call? So that's okay, just leave that we shall look at. I can see Lucy, your hand is up.
Okay, I'm asking, can you tell us more about volunteer work and internship? Like, can a first year start doing volunteer works, and can a second year also start doing volunteer work? And how do you know which are the best companies to volunteer so that?
All right, Lucy, I think that's a very good question. I think there is no better time to start than now. Reason being, the earlier you're able to get an internship or a volunteer work, it gives you an experience of the work experience. You're able to build your skills. You're able even to find out whether what I'm currently taking up in school is what I want to go through the rest of my life. Then you have an opportunity to even change earlier than you before you graduate. You get me? I think it's important. Don't limit yourself when you need to get when you need to start your internship or volunteer. You have the opportunity to volunteer, go ahead and volunteer. It actually builds on your work experience. Since no one will really want to judge whether you're being paid or not. As long as you've gotten the experience, then it puts you ahead of anyone else that doesn't have any kind of experience. Also on how to know which organizations are good to work on. I think that would make you enhance your research skills. Since when you research, the online platform these days has provided a large pool of information. You can be able to tell which organizations are genuine, which ones are not genuine, and depending on that, then you're able to differentiate which organization is good or not. Okay. Georgina?
My question is, what if I was working for a company which was involved in some kind of fraud? Should I include it in my CV, and should I mention it when at an interview?
If you're involved in a company that was involved with fraud,
yes.
That is mostly about the company itself and has nothing to do with Georgina as a person. Not unless you are the key person that was involved in fraud. I mean, we have a lot of cases that have, this is just an example. We have a lot of cases revolving corruption in NYS, corruption in our county government. But how do you view those people working in NYS and the county government? Mostly you do not relate the two of them unless they were key personnel in that fraud. So I think if you played a major role, maybe your role is important in your career at the moment. For example, if you're a customer service executive in a company that was involved in fraud. So those two things, customer service and the finance team, are very far apart, or maybe they have no direct contact. So it would really not, you just need to gauge whether your interactions put you at a spotlight or not. And if you feel it's a major threat with whatever company you're going through, then don't mention it unless you're asked. I can see Brenda.
Yes, hi. Don't know if you can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask on I think internship and project, because in our university we're given an option to take either project or internship, and I just want to know, for a person who has no work experience, is it better to take internship than to go with the project?
As I mentioned, Brenda, what really gives you the most work experience? What gives you an opportunity to learn the most, depending on what career or what bachelor's degree you're taking up? That is what you go for. If your internship gives you a more learning opportunity, then go for it. If a project is what gives you a better learning opportunity, then go for it. Because you see, we have some careers or degrees that are research related, consultancy based. Then those ones, sometimes you see, they may not really, at the end of the day, as I just mentioned, is based on the learning experience you get, the skills that you get. Nadia?
Hi. So you mentioned something about being overqualified. So do you think if you have no experience, but you have a master's and an undergrad, should you include it in your CV, or you should just include your undergrad and then come introduce the master's part later on? What do you think?
If you've already gone through your master's, that's okay. You just include it in your CV, because again, it depends on what kind of job that you're applying for. Sometimes there are some companies that are really strict on the kind of people that they're looking for. So again, in our job application process, I would like for us to learn on how to present yourself for a particular job. So before you apply for any job, I don't want us to be in a situation where we are randomly applying for jobs. You need to specify, maybe have your CV customized to the kind of job you're looking towards getting. So Nadia, if your job is an entry level and you
Lucy, pardon. Lucy.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not getting you well. You're sounding far away. Please adjust your microphone.
All right. What I'm saying is, you're looking towards your CV or including your master's in CV and you have no work experience, is just based on the kind of job that you're going to be applying for. Depending, have you done your research adequately? Depending on the company that has advertised that job. Because once you understand that job and the company itself, then it gives you a feel of what you should be expecting. Then it gives you a feel of what the expectations of that company or the employer is. Then you're able to customize your CV to that particular job. Because you have some situations where you're applying to a startup company that is looking for an entry job. Then you present yourself with a master's. Sometimes they may look at your CV and feel like that maybe Nadia has a lot of expectations that you might not be able to meet at the moment since you're just starting up. So Nadia, your CV should just customize to whatever you're applying for.
Lucy, maybe I can add.
Yes, please.
Just to emphasize the point, I think you are very right. But just to add on a question, sort of to emphasize, if specifically they have asked for an undergraduate and they have not said an MBA is an added advantage, please do not put it there, because it will do you more harm than good. Because they say this guy is overqualified, he will not stick in this job. It's an entry job, so this is overqualified. So before you are ruled out, you can hide your other papers, go in and experience what it's all about. Should they ask for anybody within now for promotion or for new assignments, then you can actually increase your CV or rather expand your CV. Meanwhile, please stick to the requirements. If they do not need an MBA, yes, you have it. You not putting it in your CV will not reduce your capacity at all, but it gives you an opportunity to be on an equal footing with the rest, so that people do not see something beyond what they're supposed to see. So you need to play smart and give what is required. If you overprovide information, sometimes it can work against you. That is my advice.
Okay, thank you, George, for that. All right, we can go ahead. Maybe I'll take the last few, maybe from Caleb.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, I had a single question concerning the course module. Okay, first of all, it's like the first question, job search and online opportunities. There's something that I've experienced before. You find a graduate, okay, he has qualified, he has done medicine. Let's say, for example, that course, he has done medicine and highly qualified, and you find the same person applying for online jobs, but he ends up getting a job like artificial intelligence, a job that is not even relevant to what he studied. So what I was asking is, when you're looking for a job after graduating, is there a part whereby you should now consider your career mostly, or you just go for the job as long as it brings you money? I think we should get some advice on that place.
All right, thank you, Caleb. I think that's a good question, and it relates to what I'm going to be discussing in the next three slides, I mean. So I'll answer your question during those slides. I have Elvis.
Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my question was, for example, when you're going for job hunting, and then you don't have any like formal skills, only skills like job are informal, like informal. So do you include them in a CV or just leave them out?
As I mentioned, Elvis, and as George has also mentioned, customization is key. Yes, understanding what you're applying for and customizing your CV to match that job posting is key, and will ensure that you get your interview and you get your job. So depends. Are those skills that you have gained, informal skills gained, relevant to this job application that you're making? Are these skills that you have gained going to boost, or are they going to lower my chances of an interview? So that's what I want us to look. Customization is key, when it comes to applications of jobs.
And Lucy, if I may jump in, I think customization, as you have said, is key. And here, what matters is the relevancy of the skills that you are talking about. If you are working in a coal mine and you are applying in an hospital setup, and you want to tell them how you are technically gifted in working in a coal mine, that will not add value for you, despite the fact that you have it. So what matters is how relevant is it for that particular job you are applying. You may have not had any experience, but you have something you've done that you think can demonstrate or exhibit some of your characteristics, like leadership, team characters, sort of some specific inherent values that you think you can add value to the application. Otherwise, if you think it does not add value, it doesn't matter how good it is, it will not help you. So that's why I go back to what he said, that it is about the relevancy of that particular experience that you have in the particular job assignment, or rather the posting that you are applying for. If not, please keep off it completely.
Maybe one last question from Samuel.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yes.
Mine is just a question, a simple question, because for example, if you are writing a CV and it happens that you have a disability, is it a must that you indicate the kind of disability you have on that CV? Because I was told that, then I was thinking like, what relevance does it have, like indicating? In fact, I think it might put you in a place of being rejected earlier, even before you go to that panel. Is it important for someone who is having a disability to indicate there the kind of disability he has? Thank you.
Samuel, as George has mentioned, if the job requires that you state your disability, because you see this online job application platforms these days have a place where you tick or you mention whether you have any any disabilities, then do so. But if it does not require you to present what is relevant for that job, and then once you get to the interview, then it would be your opportunity to mention the same. But do not let it be like a limiting factor of why you shouldn't apply or whether you should include it on your CV. Your skills are the most important thing, because you might be having a disability, but your skills surpass that other person that doesn't have one. So as you said, sometimes some what do we call them, employers may not sometimes be objective, which is something we have really been trying to advocate for. That is diversity and inclusion, and some organizations are yet to get there. So if it is not required for you to mention, then do not mention. Leah?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Leah from JKUAT. My question is, I speak French and Spanish. So in CV, where do I include that information, in the personal data or academic stuff? And then where can I search for jobs that I can use my knowledge in Spanish and French?
All right. I think I would not go into detail about where you're supposed to include your languages in your CV, because that is part of CV writing. And once I start that conversation, we will really be diverting from what our objective for today is. So Leah, I'll discuss that in our CV writing session. But as for online platforms where you can apply for jobs that require French and Spanish, there are quite a number of them. I think you just need to even if you lamely just type on your Google jobs relating to French, jobs relating to Spanish, you'll get a few leads. That those leads will lead to more leads. Then that way you can be able to apply for such jobs.
Okay, thank you.
So I think I won't be taking any more questions since I've already spoken to Brenda and Samuel. I'll go to our next slide. And our next slide is on being job ready. And I think this is what I think it's Caleb who asked about job searches, if I'm not wrong. But what do we mean when we say being job ready, or what does it mean by being job ready to an employer? What is there? I just want maybe one person who tell me what they think being job ready is. Where you'd like to tell us? Elvis, you can tell me what you think being job ready is.
Okay, can I try?
Yes.
Okay, I think when we talk of job ready.
I'm Elvis from Multimedia. From my perception, what I think being job ready is from an employer's view. I think it wants somebody who is very ready to be used by the company, and not by saying used, I don't mean being misused. I mean you are ready to be disposed at any point and in confines with the responsibilities of your job and of your job characteristic, and also you are flexible enough to expand and go out of your comfort zone pertaining to your job. So you are not only ready for that one assignment, but you are ready for quite a number of assignments.
Okay. Okay.
Can you hear someone in the background?
Yeah. Okay. I was talking before the guy interrupted. Okay, from employer's perspective, when you talk about job ready, when an employer wants to employ someone, there's a problem that is undergoing. And when he's looking for an employee, he's looking for qualities such that the employee will be able to bring the solution to the problem that he has. Let's say someone needs a manager. He'll not go and look for a handcraftsman that is going to, okay, a handcraftsman to do his management. He needs a manager who can help in solving the solution of management. So when we talked about job ready, on employer's perspective, is an employee who is able to bring solution to the problem that the employer has. Thank you, Caleb from KU.
Thank you, Caleb. Being job ready simply means that an employer can be able to view you as a person that understands the job that they are going to be taking up, that a person that has gained the necessary skills, person that has the right attitude for the job, and a person that is reliable and can be able to fit or match the job rules for that particular job. Yeah. So it means you understand the job, one, and two, you have gained or practiced on your skills required for that job, and you actually have the right attitude for that job. And this simply just comes down to the characteristics of a good employee. This is where that employee is positive, They're not always bringing problems, but even when they bring their problems, wanakuja na solutions. Kama amekuja kusema the office is not wheelchair accessible, they have provided a solution to where they can be able to make the office wheelchair accessible. For example, you can suggest of using another route or a place where they can be able to make it wheelchair accessible. You can be able maybe to even suggest areas that can be able to help employees, apart from just complaining that you're getting a lot of workload. What solution do you have for it? Maybe you can ask that your manager gives you tasks ahead of asking for them, maybe like a day before. Then that way you're able to plan and prepare a schedule effectively. Maybe then, are you reliable and accountable? Can your manager, can your employer be able to gauge your reliability and accountability? Yes, they can, by the kind of questions that they ask during the interview. They will ask you some few questions of how you're able to handle a situation where maybe your colleague did not show up to work and you're the only person that is at work. Do you report it to your manager, or how do you take up such a situation? Then that demonstrates your reliability and accountability. Are you entrepreneur? Are you a creative and innovative person? A creative person is able to give ideas. When you're going into your interview, you have read through your potential employer's website, you've gone through their information, then you're able to even suggest maybe areas where you can be able to bring new ideas that will make them either profitable or achieve or meet their target. Are you motivated? That means you're not going to a job, but when you are asked what motivates you, interesting enough, today I had some interviews and I asked someone, what motivates you, ama why are you here for this job? That person told me, tu nilisikia mtu ameniambia kuna kazi, so mimi nikaamua tu nikuje. Honestly, you being on that other side, even you not having any skills or not having been a HR, if someone told you in an interview that amekuja kwa sababu kuna mtu alimwambia kuna interviews zinafanyiwa, would you really hire that person? I highly doubt, because the motivation for this person is not clearly, this person doesn't really know what they want, because if they knew what they want, they would have told me, the reason I am here is because I am passionate about this and this, and I feel like once I come into this organization, I'm able to bring this, I'm able to improve on this, I'm able to provide this and this. Those are the kind of answers that would make sense. Then are you, as a person, gracious and a team player? How do you demonstrate team player? By how you, for example, in your reporting, for example, in your projects that you've been given, your employer, you may be asked, how are you going to handle a project that you've been given that has very few timelines? There are 3 of you in a department. How would you handle a short timeline project? Then, being a team player, you would ask your team members to help you out, or you would help out your team, you will help out your colleague. Then it demonstrates that you're a team player. Are you organized and skilled? Organized means how have you, this will actually be just seen by your CV. How you've presented your CV shows how organized you are. Maybe, again, as I mentioned, if you have spelling mistakes, it shows me that you're not keen to details. And even your skills, maybe it's your first time you've not been employed before, but do you understand the kind of skills that are needed for this job? Right. I'll go to the next slide. When you're being job ready, is you prepare yourself ahead. That means you take common sense to work. You learn how to problem solve, so that when a challenge comes forth, you are able to think through critically and present a solution. Even if the solution may not be taken up, your manager will appreciate that you have thought through the process and you have taken time to suggest something that may work. Also, you will look for practical answers. Maybe sometimes you may, sometimes some answers we tend to present at work leaves you to wonder, okay, you have an employee. And the kind of answers that maybe they would give to your customers or to anyone that they are dealing with, then they might not be even practical. Sometimes even in your interviews, you say you will bring, for example, you're applying for a business development or a sales executive position. People are selling, wanauza manyumba. Na wewe umesema within the first month nimeingia, I will bring in 10 sales, I will close in 10 sales. That's fine if you believe that much in your skills. But have you researched on the real estate market and found out how the real estate market is doing before you give such kind of answers that put you at an expectation where your employer is like, is this person serious? If me as a sales manager have not been able to close 3 sales, how is this person telling me they're going to close 10 sales? I hope you get what I'm trying to say. And disagree without being disagreeable. Sometimes you may be asked in an interview some questions that you're not okay with or you do not agree to. How do you disagree without being disagreeable, or how do you disagree without being disrespectful? Are you able to keep your emotions in check? Because that is something that sometimes your employers you may get into an interview that is really stressful. You're put in and this is just a setup that the employer has put in place to understand whether you're able to manage your emotions. They put you in a very stressful situation. They may give you unrealistic project. You're in an interview, you've been given an unrealistic project that you need to do within an hour. Clearly, the employer knows that you're not able to meet that. But they want to just identify, are you able to maintain your emotions? Because the kind of job maybe that you're applying for is stressful and may require that you have your emotions in check 100%. Be polite to people you don't like. That is something you practice at home before you even get to the workplace. Because as I mentioned, these people that you're working with, you have not known them long enough. So you might not, your personality might not be in line with their personality. But we also want at the end of the day that you are able to work with them vizuri. You keep your big picture in mind. That means as you're applying for those jobs, look for something that, as someone asked about your career, should you be applying for things that along in your career? This means that whichever job you're applying for, you're looking at the big picture. Maybe you're looking forward to join, let's say, Google. But the only job available for Google at the moment is in customer service. Yet you have done some bit of IT. Customer service and IT, not really in the same line, but you're looking towards just joining Google because Google have a very good maybe IT department. They are able to develop apps, develop some kind of things that I'm not really familiar with. But you just want to get into Google because of their knowledge, their opportunities to experience development of softwares, those kind of things. So when you're looking at your big picture means, do you have the skills that are in line with a customer service executive? Yes. Is that what I want to do at the end of my 1 year or not? Maybe not. But you're looking at joining Google as a customer service executive because you have the skills. Then working your way towards joining the IT department, right? Then that's how you look at the big picture. Regulate your personal interests. Sometimes do not let your personal interests get in the way of your work, right? Sometimes you might have a demanding personal life. Don't let it get into the way of your work. Be ready to lead. The opportunities that will present themselves that want you to step up. Be ready to step up when called upon. I'll go to how you're becoming job ready. So now we can start applying and doing all those things. How do I become job ready? One, you'll create the desire for the work. Are you interested in that job, or you're just doing it because you need to? Because I mean, watu wamekuja kuapply, wacha hata mimi nika apply. Desire the job. When you imagine when you love something or when you are passionate about something, even how you go through that interview becomes very seamless because it's something you're enjoying, because it's something that you really desire, then it becomes seamless for you. Learn the necessary skills. Yeah. And by learning the necessary skills means practically actually getting opportunities where you can practice those skills. That's why I talked about internship, volunteers, yeah, those kind of areas help you get to learn those practical skills. Develop a plan to practice those skills. Maybe you can develop a plan maybe of how you'll be working in an NGO or how you'll work in a corporate company that has an internship program, that has a graduate training program. Most corporates have those graduate training programs and they actually do help. So when you develop a plan and practice those skills, then it helps you stand out from the rest. For example, when I want to help you understand how I'm what I talk about, I'm saying when I say develop a plan. There are these, for example, let me use Deloitte because it's something a company that I know has a graduate trainee program as well as PwC. When you understand that at the end of every year or in every 4 years, Deloitte or PwC have a graduate trainee program. And this is how their graduate trainee program is like. They ask these kind of questions. They usually have this kind of interviews, then you're able to practice ahead. And when you present yourself for those interviews, you'll find yourself going up to the 3rd level of interview and being successful for the training program, right? So you set your career progression goals. As I mentioned, if you're looking towards joining that IT department in Google, set your career progression goals once you've gotten that job as a customer service representative, but you're really looking forward to doing IT. How are you going to get yourself into the IT department? You can just identify someone that is in the IT department, someone that you can actually consider as someone to mentor you, or someone that you can ask to give you small tasks relating to IT. And as time grows, this person comes to build confidence in you, knowing that at least when something comes up, I think I can consider Brian because he's shown interest in this direction. And that is actually how I also got into the current position that I'm holding, because I came in as a customer service executive, but I really knew what I wanted, what I'm looking for. I knew that if I'm able to just get into this organization that I'm looking forward to joining, then I know I am able to grow my career. And for me, it took me less than a year to get to where I am. Less than a year, you can imagine. I had no previous work experience. I had not been anywhere else before, but I was really determined to get to where I really just could visualize and see what I want to be. That's how I've gotten here. And I'm not yet there where I want to be, but I am still visualizing and I can actually see how my ladder is that will get me to what I'm looking forward towards doing. So it's actually just seeing, loving what you're doing, perfecting what you're currently doing. Because I'm saying, don't just get into that organization and just because you don't want that job, because that's not your end game, you're not perfecting what you're currently doing. Hapana, unaingia hapo kazini, kama ni hiyo kuchapa kazi ya sales, ya customer service, fanya hiyo kazi kwa bidii kabisa. Ifanye vizuri such that everyone just around will just be saying, wow, hey, this girl, she's really determined on what she wants. And those are the kind of feedback I used to get. Being in my organization, I was the youngest. I came in with people that had graduated, that had masters, people that had experience of more than 6 years in that, because it was a serious position for a customer service executive. And what the employer was looking for, they were looking for someone that will be different, someone that is authentic, that will be able to relate with the customer. And when I went into that interview, believe you me, it was very interesting since I was just so determined to get into that interview that when I was not invited for that interview, I just went in and talked to the interviewer and told them, I think you just need to interview me. This is the job this is my job. I believe I can do this job for you. And when my employer gave me that opportunity, I surely did not let them down. And even over time, they still remind me that they were a good choice, that they made a good decision in hiring me. Because since then, it's been growth after growth after growth, and that is what I want for you guys. I want you to grow and love what you're doing. Then I've been a bit fast because we are short of time. I said visualize your goal. That is visualize your end game. This is what I'm just going to be looking at today. I'm just going to start on the first component of job readiness. But before I do that, because this component is very brief, just one question. Anyone that has a really burning question on what I've talked about being job ready?
Lucy, there is one that was raised by Beth. It was a very difficult one to navigate, but I have tried to stitch left and right to make sense out of what she was saying. She was asking how you can be sorry and you are not, you don't appear to be too sorry, or your friendliness does not be misinterpreted or create a bad reputation about oneself. And I've
Hey, George.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. Can I clarify on what I was asking?
Please do, otherwise I was getting...
Sorry for that. I was typing and then nikatuma by mistake kabla sijamaliza.
Okay, ilikuwa ijaiva.
So let's see. Let's see, my question is sometimes there are people who by nature are very friendly and they say hi to everyone and they want to know past you at the office. How are you over the weekend? Who is yani mtu anaendelea tu aje? See, you're getting me? Hey Lucy.
Yes, I can get you.
Oh yeah, so I was asking for someone who by nature is quite friendly and open to everyone, how do you manage your communications and your maneuvers in the workplace so that you're not viewed in a bad way, or people don't start spreading rumors about you or making stories about you? Because probably that is just who you are. You're very friendly. And if they notice, for example, you're always asking about, you go to someone, hey, and you take the conversation longer than them, yeah, you could end up with a bad reputation, especially if you're a lady.
Interesting enough, Bev, being that I somehow describes who I am, because as a person, I can be very friendly. And sometimes people may take advantage of your friendliness to actually maybe sometimes even overload you with work. Sometimes they might actually take advantage to misinterpret what you're telling them and put it in the wrong context. So Bev, I think what I would want you to, or I would advise that kind of a person is to learn to bridge between your personal life and your work. Because if you learn your limits, you're able to learn when I'm saying too much and when I'm saying enough. Because again, you might have a friend or a colleague who's at work that you're able to just chat about everything. But once you learn your bridges, it also creates a sense of respect. Because one, I again do not want you in a situation where you're perceived to be rude and arrogant, that you don't like talking to people. No, just bridge between being polite and maintaining what you're saying and just your work. If it's anything aside from the workplace, then you can have such kind of discussions aside from the workplace. But when it comes to work, limiting your conversations to your workplace builds a certain level of boundary that goes a long way when it comes to also even career growth, right? So bridging your conversations, bridging your work life and personal life is very important then. Sometimes you need to just put your personality on hold, not completely, but putting a full stop. Ukiona unaenda kusema sana unasema, oh, thank you, I think that's it, just leave. stop the conversation at that. I hope that answers you.
Yeah, it's very well explained. Thank you.
Lucy, maybe to add on what you've said, I'm wondering whether Bev, you are in the first class. Do you remember self-reflection and also recognition?
Yes.
Remember, maybe that is your habit. Your habit is talking and being friendly. Maybe somebody else, the habit is smoking. Maybe somebody else, the habit is coming late. So there are all these manner of habits that will come and you'll find yourself in. So what is important is to reflect on yourself against your assignment and of course regulate them with the right emotional intelligence to know what is good and what is not bad, so that you are not over friendly, as I said, or you do not appear to be soliciting unnecessary vulnerability by people thinking maybe you are seductive in a way, or you are interested in somebody when you are not interested. So you may send wrong signals by being too friendly. So for me, I'll want you to put those kind of emotions in check to ensure that they are not misinterpreted and you just express the right friendship tone that you require in a workplace. So this is part of what you're learning, and I'm sure Lucy has given you a good dose of that.
She has. Thank you.
I have a question, George. Hello?
Go ahead, and this will be the last one.
Yes, could you help me understand a sample of a situation where you can disagree without looking disagreeable?
Judge, you want to answer?
That is a difficult one. He knows it, but we'll try to navigate with the little English I have in my mind.
I can go ahead. I can try.
You can try, and then I can
help you.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me just give you a situation. Yeah. For example, you're having a timeline that your boss has just presented to you that you need to present a job or to deliver a project within the next 2 days. Clearly, based on your job knowledge and skills, you understand that that is an unreasonable timeline. And you want to communicate to your boss that you don't want to disagree with him that you can't do it in two days, but you want to communicate to him that it's quite a load of work. Yeah. So how do you put across such a point? You can just tell him, I think this is a very interesting project, and I think we can be able to do this. However, I feel like delivering this project within 2 days we may end up having a substandard project that we've not clearly going through, that we are not confident in. Do you get the kind of response that you have just told him that delivering it within 2 days is not going to happen, it's not going to be something that is authentic, but you have been very polite and respectful, and you actually do not look like you're disagreeing with the timeline. Does that explain what being disagreeable without, or disagreeing without being disagreeable means?
Yes, thank you. I got you right.
Maybe to add on what Lucia said, I don't want to disagree with her because she really got it right. I think the idea is sometimes people know they're pushing you to the wall. They know they're asking too much, but they're testing your emotions. They just want to see how you respond. So for example, an hour to the close of the business day, somebody is asking you to do as an assignment. He knows you will probably take 3 hours. So you have an option of saying, no, you don't do it, or you have another option of doing it. And then when you get to the 1 hour, you say, boss, I could have loved to finish this, but I realize it requires more time. And for sure, I don't want to compromise on quality. If you don't mind, I'll be happy to come up early in the morning and finalize it because I understand the urgency of what you're doing. So you leave the gentleman or the lady understanding that you had the capacity, you had the commitment, but it's only that time is not allowing, or the assignment is a little bit more difficult, required a bit of focus and attention. That's why you've actually taken an extra hour or so. So it's about your tone. How do you respond to such an assignment without appearing to be rude appearing to be resisting advice or appearing to be resistant to instructions. That's what is important. So you can still do it, but you will still do it within the 1 hour, carry it to the next day, but you will have expressed commitment. Nobody will complain about that. They'll be happy you wanted to do it, but then time is not on your side. That is the trick. So be polite, maintain the right tone, and ensure that you communicate it objectively and, of course, in a very low and humble tone.
Okay. Thank you. I think I will just go on to the next so that we don't lag behind. The next component we are going to just touch on today is on job search. This is because this is an important process in the goal of having you get a job. The goal of this is to help you learn strategies for finding a job that is a match for your skills, abilities, and financial needs. So how do you search for a job? How do you even start? One, consider your interests. Identify activities that you like. And this is what Caleb was asking. Whether you find yourself applying for a job that you are not, this is not what you have studied for, or these are not the skills that you have. Is it something within your interest? Is it something that I will enjoy doing? Because if you like something, it is easy for you to learn. It is very easy for you to learn. Then one other thing is assess your skills. This is evaluate your school volunteer work or leisure experiences. As I mentioned, it's important to put yourself out there, put yourself in situations that will help you gain those practical skills. Maybe you're in your Sunday school, you're teaching Sunday school students or pupils. That gives you an opportunity to develop your presentation skills, your communication skills. Then it will even put you at a good place when it comes to applying for your job. Research on your occupation. Develop a list of possible careers based on your particular combination of skills and interests. If what you're studying for right now is in sales, look at a list of careers that align to sales. Sometimes people tend to assume sales is only limited to selling things, but sales is vast, it's extensive, and right. Maybe George, you can mute. Maybe then when you understand those lists or you set those possible careers that you have, you're able to apply objectively. So devote your time to your job search. Even as you're going about, maybe you have already set, when you devote your time, it means that expect to spend several hours a day looking for a job. That means you objectively sit down, look, go to your online job platform. If today you've said, I'm going to be looking at LinkedIn, looked at LinkedIn, assess the kind of jobs that are available. At these jobs, do I have this kind of skills? If I do not have this kind of skills, or if I tick most of the skills required in this job, then maybe I'm able to determine whether I'll apply or not. All right. Be patient finding a job. As I said, sometimes it takes a longer time for you to get that job that you're looking for, but you need to be patient. When you're patient in finding that job, it means you will not easily be frustrated. You will not feel stressed. Yeah, when you understand that it may take time for you to get that job, it also gives you a lot of patience. I don't know whether that makes sense. Yeah? Involve your friends and family. Your friends and family are able to give you their experiences that they've had looking for jobs. They are also able to guide you through how you are able to navigate some online job platforms. They can tell you where you can find genuine jobs. You can even talk to them about jobs that you're looking for to applying. If you applied for a job, that person asked you to send in some cash, then when you talk to your family and friends, they are able to tell you, no, I don't think that is genuine. I know someone in that organization, and I don't think that is true. That is not their advertisement. Then they are also able to give you support and assistance and encouragement, yeah? Because their experiences help you gain patience. Like my experience getting my job, will encourage some of you to be a little bit patient, and to also grow as you wait. Conduct field interviews. This is meet up with people in the field you're interested in. These days we have a lot of online webinars that people are conducting to just encourage the youth, graduates, even those programs that the school organizes that have people coming, mentoring and talking to you guys. When you do those field interviews and meet up with those people, it helps you understand some skills that maybe you are not aware of, and you can start even working on them. These field interviews help you network, and sometimes these networks come in handy when it comes to career growth and innovation. Organize your job search and resources. This means don't just apply and leave it at that. Kama umeapply na uliapply customer service, andika niliapply customer service ya hii kampuni. Kama ulipewa feedback, ni vizuri unatik, unajua hapo nilipewa feedback, hapa sijapewa feedback. If you went for an interview, record all those job searches that you have done and the resources that maybe you have sent out. If maybe for a particular job you put in someone as a referee, let them know, and also let them know and also be aware that you recorded something that nilieka huyu na huyu kama referee wangu, so that just in case they have someone talk to them, they are already aware. All right, I'll just take you through some online jobs resources that we have. These are just but a few. These are nowhere close to exhausting the kind of job search engines that we have. They are quite a number. But what I would want to mention when it comes to job search engines is that ni vizuri ukifanya research yako. Kama maybe for example mtu ameweka kazi Brighter Monday. If it's not, sometimes we have organizations that want an external person recruiting for them. If it's not an external person recruiting for them, most probably the organization will have the same kind of information on their website, or the person at their reception or at their customer service desk will have the same kind of information. So for example, let me just give you a brief experience I had. When I was in campus, I was looking to do some volunteer work. A very big NGO, very genuine. But the one thing I just did, I just researched on the NGO and found out that it was true and it was existent. But I didn't go to the extent of just finding out whether this job, they actually had a job available. So I just went ahead, applied. I was told I was successful. I sent in my CV because it was an online application. I sent in a CV afterwards. Then just but a few times, I was told, just send in 1,000 shillings. Tutakuwa tunafanya checks ya kuona ama uko. I was actually just told tutakuwa tunafanya background checks. Being naive as I was in high school, in campus, I sent in that money. And after I sent in that money, that was the end of me hearing from that person. I felt so bad because it was 1,000 shillings. I was in campus. 1,000 means a lot. 1,000, I know you all understand how much 1,000 means. And it went just like that. I did not talk to anybody about it. I did not even talk to my friends I was just excited. But just because I failed to communicate or just find more information, I ended up losing money in the process. The only money I'd been saving for the semester, just because of that. So do your research. If you've applied for something, if you feel like someone is now having a feeling that this might be a con person, call the organization itself. They will give you information and tell you, no, we don't have such a job advertised. If they do, they will tell you, yes, we do have a job advertised. And if they do tell you that they have a job advertised, ask them, kuna pesa nahitaji kulipa kwa hiyo kazi? Kama kuna pesa unahitaji kulipa, watakwambia. Kama hauhitaji, then hapana. But most of organizations do not require you to pay anything because payment, they are the ones looking to hire you. You're not supposed to pay for anything. If it is genuine, you do not pay. I'm here to come across as an organization that requires you to pay for anything. when they've not paid, not given you a contract or anything of that sort. I think that is it for today. That would be what I would like for us to just think about and sleep on. And I think I've exhausted most of your questions. Maybe if someone has a question on the job search engines or maybe on the jobs, I would take that because our time is up.
Hello, can I interrupt?
You can go ahead.
So my name is Ebei from Kenyatta University. So I wanted to inquire about those questions on emotional intelligence. How are we going to submit? Because I thought you had agreed that you are going to create a link for us to respond. But up to this time, I've not seen communication on that. Kindly, how am I going to go about that?
George
maybe
will respond. George will respond to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so that
Anything
was
else?
the part of George's training, so he's the best person to respond to the assignment question. It was last week's class.
Okay.
Maybe
Any
I can,
other questions?
yes, I can respond to it very quickly.
Yes.
We had shared the questions with Joseph. Joseph was to upload it, I think today morning, but I think he sort of sent it to for clarification, so it will be uploaded so that the question the gentleman can get, and even everyone else, because we think it's crucial. So it is coming your way. Sorry for the delay.
Thank you very much.
Just to clarify, it will be coming together with today's link, today's recording. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a question. Yeah?
Go ahead. Yes.
I am Evelyn Akelo from Kenyatta University. I had a question on job search. You find that in this platform, like currently I'm using Fuzo. So you applied for a job and then you sent through online and they sent you an email back that they have received your application. And then from there, we find that some of them go and keep silent. So these two, we should go ahead and look for them, or we wait to hear what the speaker said. We should follow on these such opportunities. So I don't know what the step do you take. Should you write another email to them, or you search for them physically?
If they mentioned that most of the organizations these days have a disclaimer where they indicate that only successful candidates will be contacted. If they do not have such a kind of disclaimer, then you can politely follow up and see whether you are successful or not, or whether the interviews happened. But if they did have a disclaimer and you have not yet received any feedback, then it automatically means you are not successful. But the good thing about that, Eva, I hope I've got your name right, is that we will be discussing that on the interview, how the interview skills. We'll talk about the interviews and the follow-up.
It's okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, hey, Lucy.
Hi.
I'm really happy and impressed with how you've taken us through today's presentation, and I'm sure everyone shares the same sentiments as me. So thank you for that. My question is not related to today's program, but if it's not too much to ask, or if it's not inappropriate to ask, could you have like your LinkedIn account? You seem to be so irrational.
Sorry?
Okay. I think let me share that when we come to working on our CVs and our profiles, so that I can be able to walk you through mine, and then step by step we can be able to also work on yours. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sawa.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think that's okay. I think, Jim, I'm done for the day, unless there is anyone with a really burning question that relates to what we've gone through today.
There is one last question that I think that somebody has really raised twice. So I think it will be injurious if we don't answer it. It can haunt us in the next sessions. The question is about what if you go enter into an organization that is not practicing transparency?
Hello.
Or transparency is not a common among the co-workers and the seniors.
Hello.
Sorry?
Sorry, I think that we need to mute that person.
Who is?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm responding to the question from Evans Ajochi,
Mm.
where he was asking, he could like to know how you respond to a situation like you enter into a company where transparency is not common practice amongst your co-workers, and now your seniors want information from you because you are accountable. How could you handle such? And I'm wondering, how could that be in an organization that the seniors want accountability, but accountability is not a virtue that co-workers hold? That is a tricky scenario we are in, but assuming everything is constant and all is well, my advice is, if you go into an organization where everybody is stealing, it does not mean that you also steal. Or if you go where people are not accountable, it does not mean you become unaccountable. What you need to do is to maintain your values and your virtues. You may not really change them immediately. It will take time to change. But personally, you really need to stay above the board. You really need to show that you have a characteristic they do not have. There is a way in which you account for your resources, which they do not do. Without telling them to stop, over time they learn that you are wired differently. Your DNA is different from theirs, and maybe you'll be somebody people will be looking forward to. And because the employer is really having trust in you and asking questions from you, is a good sign for you, but it can also be a dangerous sign because it can work against you. That's how you'll manage that.
Okay, I hope that answers you, Dennis and Evans. Derek, I mean. I think is that I'll call it a day, and I'd invite Jane to take up the session.
Excuse me, madam, I have a question.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Madam?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I'm asking for somebody who is ready to do a volunteer job, like let's say a second year, and then this somebody is really doesn't know how it goes with volunteer jobs. How can you advise them?
By saying how it goes with volunteer jobs, what do you mean?
I mean, like, which are the best companies to go for to volunteer, and how will you go about it? What do you expect? Such things.
I think one, if you're looking towards volunteering, you need to find out whether that organization that you want to volunteer offers such opportunities. Because you see, some organizations either have internships, paid internships, or they don't, or maybe they don't allow volunteering. And some organizations are okay with volunteer work, but they only allow volunteers at a certain time. So it's so important that you know the kind of job, the kind of organization that you're looking towards joining. And this means an organization that maybe is in line with your career path in what you're looking towards doing. Then aside from that, it is also important that you do your research visually on the organization. Do you know where the organization is? Is it somewhere you can be able to still volunteer and also study, or you need to just volunteer during your breaks? When you get such kind of information, then you can easily approach that organization and say that I would like to volunteer.
I hope that answers you.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sure also that there is going to be another lesson at the tail end of this module to discuss about volunteerism, internships, and also job shadowing. So we are going to have a whole discussion around that. I think I request that you plug in at that time so that we can also explore and go deeper into the whole idea of how to volunteer, how to intern, how to manage situations of internship and volunteership challenges and all that. So it is coming your way. You'll get more insight when we get there.
All right, I think I do not want to take more time since we all have other things we need to get to do. Any other questions, you can just channel them through the email that Jane provided. We'll be happy to respond to them.
Thank you so much, Lucy. I also appreciate your articulation of issues. I am sure we are all having fun. Should we have her next week?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we are therefore even doing matatus now. I know it's time for people to go home. So in case you have any questions, the email has been posted again. employable@inbusinessinitiative.org. Please email only on that email because all your other emails are getting lost in my personal emails. So to make sure I respond to all of you, I'll be responding every Friday for all questions raised within the week. So if you ask a question later on Saturday, expect it to be answered the next week on Friday. Unless it's urgent, and when it's urgent, there's a class representative, they have my contacts. Otherwise, thank you so much for the time and see you next week. We must learn something new today. We decided we'll be learning a sign language, something with sign language every week. So Byron, the Tuesday class learned how to say good night. I want to see if, don't mind my bag. Who is my? We did good night. I am using two screens. So allow me to bend one in. Last week we did, the Tuesday class did good night. Was it this with that, Byron?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're tapping good.
Oh, good. So good night in sign language, you do like this, all of us. Oh, you do this, you tap like this, and then you do like this. So good night.
Yeah.
So everyone practice good night. I can't see the videos.
Good night in sign language.
I cannot see. Allow them to do their videos.
Allowed.
Good. So all of us, Pagoda, please do us a photo. Good night.
Just make sure you don't touch your shoulders.
Oh, okay.
Touch your
So
shoulders.
Byron, you're the instructor. Please, instructors.
Make sure you don't touch your shoulders. It will imply a friend. So just good night without touching your shoulders.
Good night. All right, we will catch up. And I really hope we enjoy to get some tips on disability inclusion as we continue with the classes. So see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye. All right.
Bye. Bye. Remember to wear your masks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you.